I could tell you it had a wild effect on women. I thought they were about to start throwing their panties at me.
MAGA podcasters and far-right lunatics Nick Fuentes and Alex Jones just instantly found out after YouTube thwarted their attempted comeback to the site. And as if their past and ongoing consequences weren't justification enough to do this instantly, just wait till you see the BS they were on today.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Thursday, September 25th, 2025. Now, obviously, everybody watching is only thinking about my mustache right now.
And hey, if you appreciate free, non-hate speech on the internet, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Now, we'll get to Alex Jones's Hitler mustache purportedly having a wild effect on women in just a second, because it ties in nicely to Donald Trump getting compared to Hitler at the UN by Colombia's president. But let's quickly break down the YouTube situation here first. Nick Fuentes, the far-right figure most feared by MAGA, was reinstated on YouTube after years of censorship, but less than a day later, he was gone. Fuentes, the 27-year-old white nationalist live streamer, launched a new YouTube channel yesterday, shortly after YouTube announced that it would begin allowing previously banned accounts to appeal for reinstatement. And that stems from the platform's move to roll back Biden-era speech policies on vaccines and political misinformation that was hailed by Republicans as a win for free expression. But it wasn't long before the platform began attracting once fringe figures like Fuentes, whose original channel, America First with Nicholas J. Fuentes, was banned in 2021 for repeat violations of the platform's hate speech policy. So YouTube removed Fuentes' channel along with Alex Jones just hours after they'd been reinstated. In a statement, YouTube said, "We've seen some previously terminated creators try to start new channels. To clarify, our pilot program on terminations is not yet open. It's still against our community guidelines for previously terminated users to use, possess, or create other channels, and will terminate new channels from previously terminated users in accordance with these guidelines. We'll have more to share on the limited pilot program soon." Personally, I am very glad YouTube acted so swiftly to keep these neo-Nazis and Sandy Hook deniers off of the platform. But given the current right-wing cancel culture and the media landscape we find ourselves in, I wouldn't be shocked if YouTube actually considered letting these people back. And that would be extremely shocking, especially given what Alex Jones did on his show today. Take a look at this.
Now, obviously, everybody watching is only thinking about my mustache right now. You are not thinking about all the incredible earth-shaking news I'm about to cover. And that's because as a species, or really any species, we go off the way things look, the colorations of things. What's on a butterfly? What's on a snake? The patterns out there. That's what we have. And so after World War II, for the last 80 years, everything has been a paradigm of, is it Hitlerian or is it Captain America? And the left in Europe and the United States and the UK and Australia, New Zealand, they've continued on the psychology of World War II. They then say that white men are Hitler. Christianity is Hitler. Hillary said a few days ago, we have these evil white men that are Christians, and they're the problem with the world. And of course, she's called Trump Hitler, so have all the other Democrats over and over again. That's the bottom line. And so that's why I'm doing this social experiment, I think for just a few days. But I don't know. I went to a gas station. I went in a grocery store this morning, and it was spectacular. Being a white guy that has German features, classical German features, and with a Hitler mustache, and it was very interesting. I could tell you it had a wild effect on women. I thought they were about to start throwing their panties at me. And they didn't know why. They were looking at me because most modern women, even young ones, don't really even know what Hitler is, but they in the back of their head, they know what it is. So they got a guy with, kind of Lex Luthor meets Adolf Hitler looks with blue eyes, and they just didn't know what to do. They're like melting. So I don't know. Maybe I should, for a while, just as a social experiment, keep the mustache. What's everybody think?
Yeah, that's Alex Jones, the guy who denied the Sandy Hook shooting, got sued to oblivion for it, explaining how women allegedly melted over his Hitler mustache at a gas station. And I'll put the full clip of this insane rant at the end of this video if you actually want to lose some brain cells. But he also opened it with a montage of Hitler in the background of him and Nazi Germany. And before we move on to Trump getting called Hitler at the UN, just listen to how he admitted and explained that this stash social experiment came about in the first place.
So I cut the beard off. I'm going to go with a mustache. And again, I was going to go hike with my workout partner, Sean Johnson. He saw it, started laughing. He said, He couldn't quit laughing. And I go, what? And he goes, dude, you look like a pedo. It's ridiculous. He goes, you got to cut that off. He goes, here, let's call my fiance up and see what she thinks. So he FaceTimes her. She goes, yeah, you lose it. And I said, all right, well, we were going to hike around my house today. There's a big green belt there. I said, let me go in the bathroom. He goes, wait, don't go Hitler. At least let me see it. It'd be a great stunt as a joke. I started thinking, I was like, yeah, like a social experiment. Maybe just do it for a few days. And I go trim it, walk back out of the bathroom. He goes, damn, no, we got to take this stash back. Call it the Jones now. This is a good looking mustache. He goes, you ought to keep that. So that's how this happens. I may keep this for 6 months actually, because I'm already the devil. I'm already Satan. I'm already all these things I never did. And also, I've never supported Hitler, and I oppose all forms of totalitarian systems. I don't think Hitler is the worst totalitarian in history, but he's right up there in the top 3 or 4.
Chip actually made a video covering all of Donald Trump's baffling speech at the UN the other day, so definitely go check that out. But here is just a part of the blistering attack against Trump that Colombia's president, Gustavo Petro, embarked on that reportedly made some members of the U.S. delegation walk out of the assembly hall.
They said that the missiles in the Caribbean were used to stop drug trafficking. That is a lie. Was it really necessary on unarmed, poor young people in the Caribbean? The anti-drug policy is not meant to stop cocaine that is coming to the United States. The anti-drug policy is to dominate the peoples of the South as a whole. This forum is a mute witness to a genocide. In a world where we thought that this was something only a legacy of Hitler. And so they led this anti-drug policy from Washington. I don't know if Trump even knows that his foreign policy towards Colombia, Venezuela, and towards the Caribbean is based on advice from Colombians who are allies of the cocaine mafia. I myself denounced these politicians, including the paramilitaries, drug traffickers, and naming them by their names in the Congress of Colombia when I was senator, and many times they wanted to kill me because of that. With apologies to those who dominate the United Nations, there should be criminal cases against those officials of the United States for doing this, including the utmost official, President Trump, that allowed the shooting of missiles against these young people who were simply trying to escape poverty. Only they can stop this domination by the United States. The people who have taken to the streets in California, in New York, in Philadelphia, where the Liberty Bell stands, in spite of the National Guard that Trump sends out against its own people to shut them up, to the states that are free. These states are no longer uniting their efforts in the face of tyranny. The President of the United States does not know that 1 million Latin Americans have died, the largest share of them from Colombia. And another 1 million will die in North America in 10 years because of fentanyl. That is the outcome of 30 years by the United States of a policy that is absurd and that is leading its society to the horrific death due to drugs that kill the brain. And in this situation, Trump not only allows missiles to be fired at young people in the Caribbean, does not only imprison migrants, but also allows missiles to be killed against children, women, and old people in Gaza. He is an accomplice to genocide. In a world where we thought that this was something only a legacy of Hitler.
And that is only a small snippet of the very lengthy speech he gave railing against the United States, the war on drugs, the utter failure, Donald Trump's missile attacks in the Caribbean, and comparing him directly to Hitler, which when you see things like this, for all the fucking snowflakes that are like, stop saying you were Hitler, stop saying we're the Nazis, well, stop acting like them. You can't do this and say the things that Donald Trump did at the UN or that Stephen Miller says on a daily basis and complain that your pure evil is being called out.
That's what they did. They repaid kindness with crime. It's time to end the failed experiment of open borders. You have to end it now. See, I can tell you, I'm really good at this stuff. Your countries are going to hell. In America, we've taken bold action to swiftly shut down uncontrolled migration. Once we started detaining and deporting everyone who crossed the border and removing illegal aliens from the United States, they simply stopped coming. They're not coming anymore. We're getting a lot of credit, but they're not coming anymore.
That's the current president of the quote-unquote free world, where Alex Jones is able to do performative Hitlerian bullshit shows. But please, if you want to keep this kind of vitriolic hate speech off of the internet, off of YouTube, thankfully, and support the work of real, empathetic, progressive people and policies, then drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel to support the work and the resistance that we are building here. We cannot do this without you. We refuse to be beholden to corporate overlords or mergers or the censorship of our FCC and the executive branch and the administration writ large. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.